Hi everyone, Mark here again from Universal Asylum, just out the front of Parliament House here. I figured sort of, I guess, since I'm kind of, accusing the Australian government of aggravated criminal negligence and stuff, I thought, it was probably appropriate to, have a little bit of a chat out the front of fucking Parliament House, this outdated, primitive institution that, I guess is well overdue for some technologically driven replacements. Now, I guess what I'm accusing not only the Australian but world governments of aggravated criminal negligence on many accounts, particularly, however, I guess in ways, I also have to acknowledge the fact that, these institutions have sort of, in their own sort of ways served their purpose throughout times, and also aren't, I guess acknowledge the complexity of, the fact that these institutions weren't built to, adapt to the technological advancements, even some of the social movements and things like that. These were built to provide social stability under very different circumstances to what we have today. Even things like feminism and, stuff like, I guess I've, accused the governments of, aggravated criminal negligence in respect to failing to, facilitate, appropriate reform to the economic systems since, since feminism has led to, women, a deconstruction of that family institution and women, entering the workforce, which was, traditionally sort of based, things like a 40-hour week was based on the assumption that you had a woman at home to undertake those very important roles, these institutions weren't designed to be able to respond, very easily. I don't know that it's 100% true that they can't. I don't profess to have a full, a comprehensive understanding of their executive powers. And, one of the other problems is, you're competing with world governments as well. So to facilitate global economic reform is, mass economic reform on an individual country by country basis is, difficult enough on its own without taking into consideration the inflexibility of global markets, etc. However, times are rapidly changing. We now do have advanced technologically to a point where we are able to create established systems, automated systems that are able to, provide political stability without, basically removing the political nature of politics, providing, social stability, but whilst remaining, dynamic and flexible in terms of evolution and creating a dynamically progressive culture that whilst maintaining a level, an appropriate level of stability. I guess there's many aspects to that institutionalization of relationships, like I've mentioned. Not only the economic reform and that, but there's also those legal contracts surrounding that, whether that be marriage or de facto style relationship statuses. All of that stuff really does need to be abolished. I want to, the feminists that fucking bewails the institution of marriage. You fucking am. It's not to say people can't couple up if they choose to. However, I strongly advocate on behalf of all human beings that should remain a choice rather than a social obligation. And I acknowledge the massive ways in which these institutions, whether it be legal or financial or I guess more psychosocial value systems and all that indoctrinated shit that's sort of culturally transmitted, and and how those do play a massive role in contributing to the prevalence of domestic violence and things like that. To leave these systems unchanged, it's all good and well. Well, it's not good and well. I feel like this whole domestic violence stuff is constantly, how are we going to punish men, let's cut all their fucking dicks off. I think there's a lot of discussions that need to be had around, relationship abuse and domestic violence and how that's handled. And, some people seem to think it's black and white. Oh, but the what do they call it? Like, power imbalances, they act like only one person can be unhealthy in their relationships and abusive, which is absolute bullshit. There's actually fucking recognised forms of abuse called reactive abuse. When you've got someone with major codependency issues that's constantly lying, constantly manipulating, and you're struggling to keep those healthy boundaries, it's so easy to get worn down and to, react in ways that aren't necessarily ideal. And that may only be, there's fucking, infinite scales of that, but, we've all been guilty of it to some extent at some point in our lives, or we're just fucking liars. Wary of anyone who, wishes to pretend they've fucking never acted abusively. It's bullshit. Yes, massive, when it comes to, patriarchy, it's that patriarchy comes from the top of these, hierarchical fucking leadership structures. It's sort of like Game of Thrones with the twin pillars between the church and the fucking government. It's exactly the same thing. We have, it is, with our contemporary understandings, psychological fucking understandings, sociological understandings of childhood development and stuff like that, it is aggravated criminal negligence to allow the church to continue operating unrestricted, failing to implement those restrictions, like age restrictions surrounding religion whilst children are at their most vulnerable stages of childhood development is, it's aggravated criminal neglect. That's the church is the thing that creates mental cases like Rosie Bourne, who thinks just because someone doesn't want to be with her, that gives her the right to destroy their fucking life. Absolutely fucking mentally retarded fucking value systems. But it all all of that type of stuff plays massive roles in domestic violence and things like that. Then I don't know that this particular government's had much to do with it, but governments in general, the suppression of scientific exploration into exploring the therapeutic value of DMT and other psychedelics, despite the overwhelming evidence that they offer extreme value to our species. On top of the significance, failing to protect that, sacred significance to so many indigenous cultures and ancient civilizations, yet we're going to implement take the most dangerous approach possible with prohibitive legislation, very clearly to support the pharmaceutical industry. Now, the pharmaceutical industry is worth, when you look at the threat that DMT and other psychedelics place upon so many medications that they have the potential to rule obsolete, I'm not surprised this has been buried. The pharmaceutical industry is a $1.27 trillion US industry, or that's US dollars. I'm pretty sure those was the global pharmaceutical industry net worth, or whatever the fuck they call it. This stuff is being scientifically repressed against the interests of the general population for the financial benefits to prop up the pharmaceutical industries. Absolutely fucking disgusting. If you look at the lives that could be saved with these substances, the problems that the stress that this has, the broader social implications of all of that, this is fucking an extreme example of aggravated criminal negligence. It's fucking very scary. I fucking hope I'm scared of how many fucking really powerful fucking institutions I'm gonna fuck off with what I'm doing. This has, what I'm doing has the potential to crash the fucking pharmaceutical fucking industry. And the science behind, the science supporting the therapeutic value of DMT is far stronger than most of their medicines. It's fucking scary. The failure to act in a proactive manner in pursuit of, appropriate global economic reform in the interests of, protecting our ocean and natural resources. But then, we also there is also a massive failure to, provide adequate proactive responses to the rapidly evolving technological advancements that we're currently facing in terms of protecting the people, protecting the people or the general population from the exploitative natures of these corporations and our outdated capitalist system. Things are advancing very fast. We need a system that is able to adapt to that. And as I've also previously mentioned, in terms of, if we are going to explore the therapeutic value of DMT and other psychedelics and the, extreme holistic therapeutic value that these have, and the social implications of the potential for these to take an extreme amount of pressure off of our systems, that is likely to put many people out of work. We need to create a system, and that's not only, I mean, what I'm talking about with the MT and those, central nervous system specific nutrients and the potential for them to put many. We've also got the potential for our technological advancements to also be putting many people out of work, which is, isn't necessarily that bigger issue, providing that we, work towards establishing a political system that is able to adapt to that, and not only adapt politically in a fluent manner that provides stability. Part of that providing stability is in terms of being able to facilitate adaptive economic reform, so that, if we're going to be seeing an increasing amount of roles in society becoming obsolete and changing, we need to create an economic system that is able to adapt to that, so we aren't creating circumstances where people are basically being forced into poverty and stuff like that. I have put forward certain ideas in such socio-economic reform to go, in terms of my discussion surrounding the stratification of economic systems and social participation, and, how that can be, reformed in a manner that enables people to have many tiers of income, so that then, if certain skills become obsolete, that they're not it doesn't collapse their entire fucking world, as has been seen time and time again. We saw it here when Holden shut down, and then you got 2,000 people who were I think it's at least 2,000, but failure to provide adequate regulations of arts industries. That's not just like the dance industry in my case, globally with things like the film industries and stuff like that. These are predominantly left unregulated, and we've seen other people, some of the women in Hollywood and stuff like that speaking up, and typically experiencing some of the same challenges as me. Everyone, it's funny in some of these artistic it's like they want to pretend that fucking narcissists aren't attracted to abusing positions of power in these type industries. It's not a secret. I'm not the first person who's ever been fucked over. The dance industry, I've got no doubt, has led to many suicides with the behaviours of some of these so-called fucking leaders. It's really small fry in the grand scheme of things, but it is just another little example of those toxic fucking leadership styles left with nothing to keep them in check. We've also seen, a great deal of that, what amounts to fucking aggravated criminal negligence, and, the fact that we just ignore every fucking national inquiry. What is the point in having these national inquiries? You see the Aboriginal flag there flying in the background. I mean, when you look at it's been nearly 30 years since Aboriginal deaths in custody, and 25 years since the Bringing Him Home report. We haven't fucking changed a fucking thing. We're still, last I knew, we were taking, people talk about the stolen generation like it's a thing of the past. But last I checked, we were removing more Aboriginal children than what we did in the fucking past. Apparently, from what I read yesterday, we're incarcerating 3 times as many. We haven't implemented any fucking changes surrounding any of the fucking recommendations. You know, it's all good and well to pay lip service and fucking pretend we're actually doing stuff, but, you know, at what point are these governments ever held accountable? And look, like I've said, there's another big one, you know, knowingly contributing to global conflict and violence by profiteering from fucking arms industries. You know, both the Australian and American governments fucking do that. No doubt plenty of others, you know. You want to fucking preach like no violence and fucking violence is not acceptable under any circumstances unless we're making profits out of selling fucking arms overseas and shit. You know, fucking violence is no good. Oh, we're gonna spend billions of dollars fucking on fucking fighter planes and shit. You know, rather than exploring, how much fucking money is any of these governments exploring into trying to fucking mediate some fucking transition towards world fucking peace? Fucking none. You know, I don't know whether none of them have fucking thought any of this shit, or whether that's just, you know, it is. It's massive. It is. It's fucking aggravated criminal fucking negligence. For us to, you know, maybe not so much in the sense that, you know, we did rely upon these fucking hierarchies and these institutions once upon a time. However, we have reached a point of technological advancement where we are able to automate all of these systems and automate, you know, and that does really need to become globally. That is how, you know, none of these, because, well, even we can't have like one hierarchical structure to run the world. It doesn't fucking work. It never has worked. It never will work. And which leader are we gonna pick? They're all fucked. They're all dumb cunts. It does not fucking work. It needs to be leaderless. It's the only way we can fucking run it. And that's going to require a massive fucking transition. It's going to require massive forward thinking, you know. And slowly, you know, if you look at like the massive waste of, you know, I'm not the only person in the world thinking about it. I have seen, you know, particularly a little bit of the stuff on one of Russell Brand's sort of things where, you know, they had, I don't know, and I've probably seen a little bit of other stuff where they're questioning some of these tech giants and stuff like that, trying to work out. Now, this all needs to be governed by, it all needs to be governed by the one institution. If we're to, you know, facilitate any of the transitions that I'm talking about, this does need to be overarched by one organisation to take control of the entire global economies. You know, like I've already said, you know, like in my definition of, you know, world leaders pledging their fealty, that, yeah, will require fucking executive shares of all fucking aspects of the, what do you call the cunts? Like basically every industry, all the major corporations, all of the governments. You know, and that is the only way. That is the only way that we can fucking, the only hope we have of saving our oceans. The only hope we have of helping the third world countries. The only hope we have of avoiding World War fucking 3. You know, is to work towards all of this stuff collectively. You know, I mean, the governments have it. It is aggravated criminal negligence for the governments to allow people such as Zuckerberg and you know, some of these massive tech giants to fucking continue to operate independently. These need to go into a world trust and become public assets so they can be managed in an ethical manner by people with actual morals. Now, like, one of the interesting things is, like, no one's ever thought about using that technology to create a one world leaderless system of government for the best interests of everyone. It's all about, oh, let's use the algorithm so we can exploit people and make money, blah, blah, blah. Not like how maybe we can apply the fucking algorithmic style fucking technologies into, and I guess combine that with, different features, some probably with similar parallels to, other, I guess, interfaces with, features that are probably very similar to social media, some of them, and, different things so that we can accumulate mass data that is capable of, driving comprehensive social reform, including like, the amendment of legislations and social policy, the distribution of resources so that the resources are going to the right aspects of the community to serve the needs required across all of our human services and stuff like that. And that's what Universal Asylum is attempting to offer society. But of course, it's very difficult to put this fucking idea across to anyone because, I don't know, I guess it's my fucking interest. I've been thinking about it for the last 13 years, like trying to analyse the system and figure out a way out of this horrible mess that we're in. I'm not saying put all the politicians in jail. It's not going to help. The thing is, we need these structures to continue to operate whilst we facilitate that transition into towards increasingly automated systems. Which has all sorts of big and complex challenges associated with that. However, they are necessary challenges that we need to be exploring really decades ago. So I guess, the big one is, the failure to, now that, I'm putting forward trying to put it forward something that is a comprehensive plan to make those transitions without, going too far down the rabbit holes of the complexities of these. This is a broad fucking bird's eye fucking long-term plan to lead our fucking species to world peace and save our environments, however, once I've put forward this plan and or the main gist of it and highlighted a whole multitude of fucking aggravated criminal negligence. I guess I am sort of calling these institutions criminal organisations, and they fucking are. It does. It gets very difficult for them. How do they meet the ideals that they've created? And that's become increasingly difficult with the rapid rate within which with which we are advancing as a species, and these institutions are no longer able to keep up. So I guess in a way, or in a certain sense, what becomes further counts of aggravated criminal neglect would be to I guess the failure to seriously consider the alternate model that I'm doing my best to put forward, to hopefully resolve some of these issues, extremely complex issues that our species is currently facing. Yeah. So I don't know, I think yeah, that's about it for me. Off the top of my head for what I think, it would definitely be a bigger crime for us to not, or failure to explore an alternate social structure at this stage would be, highly questionable, to say the least.